the dignitaries who have joined this webinar, Mr. Suresh Reddy, the Indian Ambassador at Brazil, Dr. Ricardo Gelman, Dr. David Frawley, and the other dignitaries, and the organizer, Dr. Jose Ruge. Namaskar from India. I am Dr. Manoj Nesri, the advisor from the Ministry of Ayush. I wish you all the best on the occasion of the Ayurveda Day and the Dhanvantari Jayanti. Before my presentation, I would like to give you some narration about the Ayurveda Day. This is the statue of Lord Dhanvantari, and the Lord Dhanvantari is considered as the god of the Ayurveda, and the Dhanteras, that is the Dhanvantari Jayanti, that is today, is the birthday of Lord Dhanvantari, and therefore this day is considered as the Ayurveda Day, and this has been notified in the Gazette of India by the Ministry of Ayush, the Government of India, and now this is the fifth Ayurveda Day where we are now celebrating, and we wish that with the help of Ayurveda in this particular pandemic and even after that, we will stay healthy and we will be able to promote our health. And with this background, I would once again give you my namaskar. At this juncture, I would like to also inform you that the Ministry of Ayush has done a lot of work during this pandemic, and we have integrated Ayurveda uh, in the public health on a very large scale, and we have also received or achieved a good success in this particular initiative, and this definitely we would like to share with all of you during this webinar. And that's why we have selected this topic, Ayurveda for COVID pandemic, the mitigation, treatment, and post-COVID rehabilitation. And as you know that the Ayurveda is useful in the prevention as well as the treatment. So on the both aspects, and this actually we could experience and we could demonstrate during this COVID pandemic. Before actually going for the actual implementation, that how we did implement and what are the various research outcomes of the Ayurveda in COVID, some little background about the classical connotation that I would like to give to all of you. In Ayurveda, the word which is used is Janapada Dhvams, and in which the Jana is the large population and the Dhvams is the destruction. So it is the destruction of the large population or the large locality, and this destruction used to happen in the ancient time also, and this actually what we are saying in even in today also. So whether they are the epidemics or whether they are the pandemics, so for both the things, the Janapada Dhvams is the term which is used in Sanskrit to indicate this pandemics. And in this, one of the main reason is the pollution and the bad quality of the air. It could be the water, it could be soil, and because of that, this various diseases, they do spread and they do cause harm, and this has been mentioned in the Charak Samhita. The another word which is used is the Upasargik rog or the Sankramak rog, which means by the contagious diseases or the communicable diseases or the infectious diseases, and this has been very elaborately mentioned in the Social Samhita. And in the Social Samhita, it mentions that Prasangat, Gatra Samsparshpad, Nishwasat, Saha Bhojanat. That means when we share the our food or the clothing, so because of that, due to the physical relations, the skin to skin contacts, and because of the droplet infections or the airborne infection, the various diseases they do spread, and these include right from the contagious diseases like the leprosy and other skin disorders up to the pandemics like COVID, in which the droplet spread is there. There could be airborne infection, and these kind of various possibilities are there of the spread. And related to the diagnosis, which is based on symptom, the Ayurveda considers the pandemic or this particular COVID in the broad umbrella of Jwara. As you might know that Ayurveda has given the broad classification of diseases, like there is classification of diseases even in today. So the classification of diseases are there, and the 30 chapters which are given in the Charak Samhita Chikitsastan. So they are the broadly the classifications of the diseases, and in this, the first classification is the Jwara or the fever. So all those diseases which are manifested or which are presented with the dominant feature of the fever, so they all are classified under this condition. And under that, the various presentations, the various symptoms, they have also been mentioned at the same time. How the various diseases they spread, how the diseases they actually do manifest, what is their pathogenesis. So this has been given in detail, and when we look at it, so from that we understand that when there is sore throat, the fever is there, the cough is there, and headache is there. So usually this is the combination where the vata dosh and the kapha dosh, so they are dominated, they are vitiated, and that's why this condition is called as the vata shleshma jwara. Similarly, vata pitta jwara is dominated by the high fever. It is the anorexia, it is insomnia, syncopal attack, vomiting. So when these symptoms are there, so it is the vata pitta jwara. And in the kapha pitta jwara, it is the fever, it is the drowsiness, it is the confusion. So these symptoms are there. So during this, it is also very important to note that in Vata Shleshma Jara, when the Vata is dominant, so that time the onset of fever, it is usually early in the morning, or it is early in the evening, or early at night. So this is a typical time when the fever starts. It is associated with severe body ache because the Vata is there, and it is also associated with the headache, and there could be cough. Because of the kapha association, there could be the breathlessness also, the respiratory system can get also involved. And in this particular combination of vata kapha jwara, the fever is never too high. So it is moderate fever. If it is only vata, then there could be a lot of fluctuation. It could be very high fever. But when the kapha is associated with the vata, the fever could be moderate. It may not be too high. And likewise, in the vata pitta jwara, there will be very high fever. So how actually we differentiate? It is basically depending upon the various clinical presentations, that whether it is a vata shleshmik jwara, or whether it is a vata pitta jwara, or whether it is a kapha pitta jwara. So that's why when we started getting the patients of COVID, we also studied that whether actually our assumption that the COVID is vata kapha jwara is correct or not. And for this, we also recorded the data of all the patients. And here actually you can see that maximum number of patients, that is the 45% of the patient, they came with the complaint of fever, and also they had the headache and the body ache associated with that, and cough. So with these observations in the patients which attended the hospital, so the presumption that the COVID presentation is mostly correlated with the vata kapha jwara, so that was correct. But at the same time, there were the other presentations also, like anosmia were present in 5% of patients. Then the fatigue was there in 2-3% of patients. The runny nose was also there. The loss of appetite was also there in 5% patient. So these other presentations were also there, but these are the four main symptoms which were seen, that is the fever, cough, headache, and body ache. And the same is the presentation almost all the countries in the world. So while understanding that this is mainly the vata kapha jwara, but at the same time we also have to understand that we are not equating COVID is equal to vata kapha jwara, because depending upon the presentation, as I mentioned, the COVID can also manifest in the form of vata pitta jwara, or it could be pitta kapha jwara, or the pitta shleshma jwara. And this diagnosis is important when we design the treatment, and this should be actually kept in mind. Overall approach of the Ayurvedic treatment is that it is the medicines, it is the swasthvrata, that is the promoting your health by the various measures, which also include the measures to improve your immune defense mechanism, and which is called as Vyadhikshamatva in Ayurveda. and the biocleansing procedure, that is the panchakarma, so which also includes the nasya and basti, the virechana, all those kind of things, the medicine, and obviously the exercise and yoga. So this is the combination of the Ayurvedic treatment for any kind of diseases, not necessarily only for the COVID. So this is the general approach, but the same approach can also be applied to the patients who are suffering with the COVID. And while doing this management of the COVID through Ayurveda, the overall emphasis is strengthening the host defense mechanism. So whether it is the prevention part of it, whether it is the treating the patients, or whether it is the post-COVID treatment and the rehabilitation, so strengthening the host defense mechanism and improving the strength of the body tissues is a very integral part. It is a very important part, and that's why the whole treatment is focused on that. The difference is that when we talk about the prevention of the disease, so in that the dinacharya, rutucharya, and obviously wearing of the mask and the cleanliness and hygiene, maintaining the safe distance, so all these are important factor to prevent the disease. And when we are talking about the treatment, in the treatment, on one side we are also considering the treatment of the vata and kapha, that is the dosha which are involved into it. So the treatment is three types mainly, as you know, that it is the hetu viparit, that is the against the causative factors. And here when we say the causative factor, it is basically the vata, pitta, and kapha. So it is the against causative factor, that is all the treatment which we provide, it should alleviate the vata and it should also alleviate the kapha. So these kind of medicines should be there. At the same time, the Vyadhi Viparit is against the disease, against the symptoms. That is to immediately control the symptoms, whether it is the breathlessness, whether it is the cough, whether it is the fever. So the medicines should also have the property to reduce the fever. That means they should be antitussive, they should be antipyretic. So these activities should also be there. And then lastly comes when we are talking about the their rehabilitation and further promotion of the health and the post-COVID treatment. So in that, the rasayana makes a lot of impact, and the use of rasayana is very important to strengthen the tissues, because the tissues are already damaged. There could be some kind of fibrosis or some kind of other pathology, and to overcome that pathology, it is very important to use the system specific various rasayana medicines in this phase. And in the general measures, the drinking warm water throughout the day, so this has been indicated, because as you know that the vata and kapha, so they are having the cool property, and because of that, anything which is hot will help them to alleviate the levels of the vata and kapha. So that's why whatever the water we drink, it is advisable that let us have the warm water throughout the day. And the warm water also helps in maintaining your agni, because Ayurveda has said that agni is the main factor which is responsible to maintain your health, and when the agni it deteriorates, it leads to various kind of disease conditions. And because of that, the cold food or the ice cream and this kind of, they are recommended to avoid if you want to be healthy, especially in this particular pandemic. And that's why this drinking warm water is of very much use, and it is indicated. At the same time, the spices like turmeric and cumin, coriander, so these have been indicated during this particular phase. And we also recommended concoction, or rather a hot infusion of the various spices. One thing should be kept in mind, that the spices, they are never boiled, because the spices, they contain the volatile oils, and therefore the hot infusion, or in Sanskrit language it is called as the fant, so that should be used. That means you have to take the spices which are recommended, and then add the boiling hot water on that, and put a lid, cover it for 5 minutes or so, so that all the volatile oils, they are extracted in the water, and then you drink that water. So it is not actually a boiling process, it is a hot infusion. So this is actually what is recommended. And obviously the yogasana and pranayama and all these various exercises, they are recommended. And the most important is the nasya. Nasya is the application of oil or ghee in your nostrils. The Pratimarsha Nasya, it advises that whenever you go outside or you are doing some kind of or you are exposed to some kind of outside things, so before that, you have to apply this. So maybe 10 to 12 times in a day. Simply you have to apply any oil, whether it is a gingerly oil, whether it is sesame oil, whether it is a mustard oil. The ghee is the best thing, and we recommended Anutel, which is a Ayurvedic formulation inside the nostril. So you have to simply dip your or you have to take a drop on your small finger and then apply inside the nostrils. And this the coating of the lipids, so that helps in preventing the entry of the virus. In this, we also have now initiated a research that how the fat membrane, it actually, or rather the film of this lipids, so that protects the virus in entering inside the body. And then there are some immune promoting food substances and the herbs which are also indicated. The Chyawanprash is the best one. The Chyawanprash is the main ingredient of the Chyawanprash is amla. At the same time, the dashamul and the saffron and many other spices, so they are also the part of Chyawanprash. There is a lot of research which is available on the Chyawanprash. At the same time, there is a lot of research which is also available on the amla itself. And amla is supposed to be the best immune promoter. It is the best immune modulator. It actually works at the mitochondrial level. So it is found that it improves the mitochondrial respiratory reserve. So mitochondrial respiratory reserve is important for the free radical scavenging kind of activities. And when this activity is more, or this mitochondrial respiratory reserve, if it is more, so that means it is having the rasayana property and it will help you to promote your health. And the important another factor pertaining to Chyawanprash is that on one side it is a general health promoter. At the same time, the Chyawanprash has a specific activity on the lungs and the urinary tract. And especially when in the COVID, when the respiratory tract is the one of the important thing, the lungs, they are affected into it. So considering this, it is important that we should have this Chyawanprash. The important thing is that for getting this protection from Aula, you cannot get protection within a day, that today actually I have taken Chyawanprash and now I'm fit to go for any kind of exposure. So it is not that. So there has to be a long-standing consumption of the Chyawanprash. So maybe for 15 days or 20 days continuously you have to take Chyawanprash, so that this kind of phenomena will happen within your body, and that will provide you the good protection. At the same time, these herbal decoctions and the concoction, so they are there, and especially the basil, cinnamon, black pepper, and ginger. So these actually we advised during the month of February or March, when there was the onset was very recent in India, and there was not a community spread. It was on a very small scale. So that time we indicated this, and this has significantly helped the people. And the golden milk, that is the turmeric and milk, so that is indicated. The another very important plant is the guduchi, or the Tinospora cordifolia, which is the best immunomodulator, and there is a lot of research which is available on that. And this also we promoted not only in the prevention and the promotion of health, but also in the phase of treatment, and the impact or the effect are outstanding. And a lot of these docking studies have been done, and a lot of these molecular studies have also been done, and some of them are the guduchi, amla, the yashtimadu, that is the sweet flag, the tulsi, that is the holy basil, the neem, the triphala, the haldi, that is the turmeric. So these are the potential herbs, and on which there is a lot of research now which has been done in last 6 months. And we have found that as per actually our judgment, that these medicines, since they have been indicated in Ayurveda in the Vata Kapha they are likely to be effective in this particular pandemic of the COVID. and it came true that these are really very effective and they have given significant protection to the Indian community. The another aspect is the herbal fumigation in your home. So the herbal fumigation is very important, and one study which I have reflected over here. So likewise, many studies we have conducted, and this study strongly suggested that the Ayurvedic fumigation with natural plants products is effective in reducing the airborne bacteria and disinfecting the inanimate surfaces that has huge potential to address the nosocomial infection. So this fumigation is very important, and the fumigation has been advocated in Ayurveda in many conditions where there is likely to be the risk of the infection. So even it is the pre-surgical conditions, post-surgical conditions, or even while storing the various food items or the herbs. So in that also the fumigation is recommended. At the same time, during this pandemics and epidemics, the fumigation is indicated. So in the last 6 months, the ministry took various initiatives, and in these initiatives, first was the Ayurveda was notified as the essential services, and this is a major step that the government of India has taken, because any traditional medicine probably hardly it is considered as an essential service, but in India the Ayurveda was considered as the essential services, and because of the notification as the essential services, the Ayurveda clinics, the Ayurveda hospitals, as well as the Ayurveda drug manufacturers, so they were excluded out of the lockdown. So all the services they were continued. They used to manufacture. They continue to manufacture the medicines, and all the hospitals. So they also serve to the community in various aspects, whether it is for the mitigation, whether it is for the treatment. And many of the hospitals they were declared as the COVID hospital. One of them is the All India Institute of Ayurveda Hospital at New Delhi, and in that a 60 bedded ward has been specifically dedicated to COVID, and this is a well equipped hospital with all the ventilators and the ICU and all of the infrastructure. But fortunately, till today, we never actually required any of these kind of necessity to shift the patients on the ventilators, because the patients they got cured with the Ayurvedic medicines, even if in the mild or moderate phase itself, and nobody deteriorated. At the same time, we also issued the prophylactic guidelines for the COVID based on the Ayurveda, and these prophylactic guidelines, as I mentioned, they included the Chyawanprash, the concoction, the hot fermentation, etc. Obviously, this is in addition to the physical spacing, the personal as well as the hand hygiene, and the wearing of the mask. So it goes without saying. Then we also notified the guidelines to promote the research on COVID through Ayurveda, and for that one notification it was issued, uh, clearly indicating that anybody can undertake the research on Ayurveda, following the various international guidelines, including the ethics committees and the ethical approvals and all those kind of things. And because of that, presently 82 research projects at 112 locations they have been launched by the Ministry of Ayush, the various organizations under the Ministry of Ayush, whether it is the Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences, which is the research body of the ministry, or the All India Institute of Ayurveda, or it is the National Institute of Ayurveda Jaipur, or the Institute of Teaching and Research in Ayurveda, which is at Jamnagar. So likewise, there are many institutes which undertook these activities at different places. Then we also promoted intercontinental research collaboration for this Ayurveda research in COVID. And in this intercontinental collaboration, there are organizations from Brazil also, those who are collaborating with the Ministry of Ayush, and we are happy that the two organizations in the Brazil, so they have come forward and they have shown the willingness, and now we are working together for having this research on the Ayurvedic research on COVID. And I'm sure that the outcomes they will be really very outstanding, and they will be useful for the people of Brazil also. We also developed the Ayurveda protocol for the COVID treatment, And the important thing is that this protocol, it is integrated in the national protocol of COVID treatment of the India. So this is the biggest achievement, that the traditional medicine or the Ayurveda is integrated as a part of the national treatment protocol. Then the Ayur Sanjeevani mobile app. So this mobile app particularly we launched. This mobile app gives the information about the disease. This mobile app also gives the information about the primary treatment. This also gives the information about the home remedies and the how to keep yourself healthy. That is the mitigation. And not only that, on the basis of this app, and we also promoted this app to download to the people, and millions of people of India, so they downloaded the app. And on the basis of this downloading, we also conducted a public health survey, that how many people they benefited. We also conducted the large cohort public health research, and the facilitated the export of Ayurvedic medicines. And during this period, we exported Ayurvedic medicines, or we donated Ayurvedic medicines to many countries around the world and to the neighboring countries. So this is the salient features of the symptoms and the management. Like suppose if it is in the prophylactic care, you can have ashwagandha, that is the Vidania somnifera, or the guduchi, that is the Sanchamanivati, or the Tinospora cordifolia. So it can be taken. The Chawamprash can be taken. These are the some images of the plants of the ashwagandha and the guduchi, that is the Vidania somnifera and Tinospora cordifolia. And this is for the symptoms that when the persons are having COVID positive. So during COVID positive, but still they are asymptomatic, then what should be taken? And suppose if they become symptomatic, so in the symptomatic, that is the fever and headache, so what various medicines they can be taken to if these particular symptoms are there. So these various guidelines they were notified, and these guidelines, they are based on the evidence. So for example, the Nagarada Kashai is the decoction which can be used when the fever is there and the body ache is there. But at the same time, the Nagaradi Kashai also contains Haritaki, so it also helps in clearing your bowels. It also helps in removing the ama. For the kapha, it is the Sitopaladi Churna, it is one of the formulation. Then the sore throat, it is the Vyoshadavati, and so on. So various medicines of Ayurveda, they were mentioned in this. These are the various formulation. And this particular study I would like to highlight, because in this particular study, it is the impact of the Ayurvedic intervention in the prevention of COVID in identified containment zones in Delhi. So in various containment zones, we had given the public health intervention as a protection. And in this, out of 1,500 participants, only one turned to be positive. So here in graph, you can see that the blue line is the number of incidents of the COVID patients. So it is rising at an alarming rate in the general population of Delhi. At the same time, those who were given this Ayurvedic intervention, so in that, this is the red line. So in this red line, you can see that the incidence, it dropped significantly. And this actually shows that the how Ayurvedic medicines, they can give the protection. And in this, especially the ashwagandha, the guduchi, so this was given, that is the Tinospora cordifolia and the ashwagandha. So these were the given, and the Sudarshan Ghanavati, which is one more formulation. So these are the outstanding results in 1,500 people. We also done the docking studies and the in silico evaluation of the compounds, and this is done by our research council, the Central Council for Research in Ayurvedic Sciences. In 1988, they had developed one product called as Ayush 64, which is a herbal compound or the multi-herbal formulation containing 4 medicinal plants, and this was developed especially for the malaria. But then we, in the last 10 years, we observed that it also works on many viral diseases, and we thought that it could also work in this particular pandemic. And so we undertook this study for the repurposing of the Ayush 64. And in this, we found that in silico studies, the 35 compounds exhibited good binding energies than positive control of the N3. So this is the very significant outcome that we found. The result indicate that the Ayush 64, already marketed and approved safe drug, could be a good candidate for the repurposing. So this particular study was done, and after that we also launched the clinical study, many clinical studies on the I-64, and here the molecular interactions of the acumycin N oxide with this COVID 2019. So this was seen. So this is a very important outcome. And the another study which was launched by the All India Institute of Ayurveda, it is called the Ayu Raksha. Ayu Raksha. So Ayu is the life, Ayur is for the Ayurveda, and Raksha is the protection or to protect yourself. So basically, it is the protecting yourselves or your life with the help of Ayurveda. So this is the meaning of Ayuraksha, and this was launched in a large cohort. So this local cohort is the 80,000. So these 80,000, especially they were the frontline workers, the Delhi police, and all the Delhi police, 80,000 Delhi police. So they were given this protection with the Ayurvedic medicines, and the main objective of the program was to improve the immunity of the people. And the Ayurveda kit, it consists of the Sanchamani Vati, that is the Guduchi Ganavati, the Ayush decoction, and the Anutel. So these were the components of this Ayur kit. The important thing is that when we launched this study, so during this study we observed that at the time of the study, the daily incidence of the infection in the Delhi police, it was in 3 digits. That is, it was more than 100 Delhi police, they were catching COVID every day. But after the starting study, this number, it gradually dropped down, and within 1 month it dropped down to only single digit. So it gave significant protection to Delhi police against catching the infection. So this significantly improved the immunity. At the same time, we have also undertaken the biochemical parameters, and other a lot of data is there, and all these biochemical markers and other studies so that we have done, and this data is being analyzed. Here actually we are trying to give the comparative that the violet colored the column, it is the Delhi police, whereas the blue column and the red column, so they are the Karnataka police and the Mumbai police. So here actually you can say that because in Karnataka and Mumbai there was no any protection of this particular Raksha kit was given. So how the incidence was there in those police, whereas in comparison to that, the violet one, which is the Delhi police, so the infection rate was much less. At the same time, on the left graph, you can see that the incidence of Delhi police, the COVID infection, it was just not 2%, whereas the overall Delhi population, it was much more higher. So the Delhi police, they are the part of the Delhi population, but despite being the part of the Delhi population, so though there was very high incidence of the infection rate in the Delhi population, in general, the Delhi police, they were significantly protected. And this is how actually we did that. We also had, it is called as a Dhanvantari Rath. So Dhanvantari Rath, it is the van, and with the name of the Dhanvantari, and these various vans, so they actually went from the communities to communities, and they provided the Ayurvedic medicines and the advice to the community to promote their health and the ensure their wellness. And likewise, we also started this telemedicine center and this Ayush COVID-19 call center. So this was started in the All India Institute. On the left side, you can see the building of the All India Institute of Ayurveda, which is at New Delhi, and all the various protections like the PPE kit and other measures. So they were followed in this, or they are being followed. And the important thing is that in usually all the hospitals in Delhi, the those who are providing the services, almost 30% of the service providers, whether they are doctors or the nurses, they catch the infection. However, in this particular hospital, because the service providers, they were also being given the protection with the Ayurvedic medicines, so till now not a single person of the service provider, that is the doctor or the nurses or the other supporting staff, those who are working in the COVID ward, so none of them they got any infection of the COVID, despite they are being closely or very closely they are exposed to COVID. Despite that, they are healthy and nobody actually got the infection. We also have all the provisions like the RT-PCR and the rapid antigen test and all these kind of various. We have the ultra modern laboratory over there, and all these tests they are done even the before treatment and the before actually they enter into the ward and after their duty is over after 8 days. So all these things they were done. And this is the impact on the RT-PCR. In the RT-PCR, usually it takes 15 to 25 days as per the WHO data. But when we gave the Ayurvedic medicine, you can see that most of the patients they become the RT-PCR negative within 4 days. So this is a very significant achievement that those patients of the COVID they can become this RT-PCR negative within 4 days. And this is regard to the Ayur Sanjeevani, this mobile app which I mentioned about. And in this mobile app, more than 15 million people they downloaded, and we developed the data of these people all across the country, and the results are very significant. So in this 72,000 people, 723,000 people, so they gave the feedback. Out of that, the physicians feedback itself was 74,000. And in this we found that the 79.1% of the user responded, and the 85.1% of the respondent they reported that the Ayush measures, so they have significantly helped them in preventing from the COVID. And the 89.8% respondents agreed to have benefited from the practice of Ayush advisory. So this is a very significant outcome of the various public measures that we have undertaken. And these are some of the images of the various guidelines, that is the guidelines for the Ayurveda. Likewise we also developed the guidelines for the yoga, the guideline for the Siddha, all those guidelines that we developed. At the same time we also developed the guidelines for the post-COVID management and the national clinical management protocol. And in the post-COVID-19 management, the important thing is that how actually we can promote the respiratory distress, how we can promote the Agni, and we can overcome the indigestion or the digestive problems. And the important thing is the psychological factors, because even in the patient, those who are admitted, in that in the initial phase there was isolation, and because of that there were many cases of depression. So in this condition we obviously gave them the humanitarian approach was adopted. The yoga was regularly given. We also use the various methods like the CCTV cameras and other things, so that they can communicate with their relatives, and they won't find isolated. So all this technology was used. At the same time we also use the Medhya Rasayana. These are the various medicinal plants and the formulations, especially to improve the mental health. So they were used, the Kushmanda Avleha and Shankapushpi. So these were used. And for the respiratory distress, because we found that many of them they are having the breathlessness even after they become the COVID negative with the allopathic medicine. And these kind of patients from the allopathic hospitals, they come to our hospitals, and we give them the various medicines, whether it is the Kantakari or the Pippali or the Chomprash or the Brahmarasan, and these vary depending upon their conditions when we assess them clinically. And with that they improve significantly. And the Ampachana medicines and the ginger and the Trikatos, they are given for the improving their Agni. And the building immunity is very important, and this building immunity, it depends upon the various rasayana medicines which are given, which also contain the anti-stress properties. They are antioxidant, they are the immunomodulators, and many of them they also contain the antiviral or the antimicrobial activity, and all of them they are and they possess the anti-inflammatory activities, and the guduchi is one of them. So this is the outline that how actually we try to contain the spread of the COVID. And I'm happy to share with you that despite the large population of India, and in many cities it is the very high density. So despite of the high density, where it is not possible to protect themselves from the safe distancing, when the safe distancing is not possible, and that could actually give a major threat for their exposure to the COVID. So even that also, the Ayurvedic medicine, they have given significant protection. The Ayurvedic medicines, we observe that the patient, they become symptom free within 2 to 3 days, and they become COVID negative maximum within 7 days. So this is the overall clinical profile that we observed. At the same time, we also observed that few patients, they also get the ST depression. So when ST depression they get, so that time we provide them the medicines like the Arjuna or other kind of medicines which are useful on the heart. At the same time, we also use the herbo mineral combinations, because the herbo mineral combinations, they are most effective, and these were also used. So because in India Ayurveda is formally recognized, and the minerals, use of minerals and metals is also indicated, especially when it is the very high fever is there, like 104 degrees or 105 degrees, and when the SpO2 is dropping at the level of 85 or 80 or little lower than that. So in these conditions, we also use the various formulations which contain the arsenic formulations. And in this arsenic formulation, arsenic is not used in the raw form, it is processed according to Ayurveda, and because of that it becomes non-toxic for a short-term use. And these preparations, they are used for 2 days or 3 days, till the patient become within controllable conditions, and then this medicine, they are withdrawn and they are switched over to the herbal formulations. So these medicines, which contain the arsenic and many other minerals and metal, they are also very useful. And especially the gold preparations, they are very useful in conditions like the fibrosis is there or the fatigue is there. So in that, the gold preparation, they are also used. So we are using all kind of formulations, but mostly the herbal formulations, and we have found that they are much better than the any other medicine. And because of that, we are able to get great success in the management of COVID. Thank you all of you, and let the Lord Dhanvantari give you the best health. Thank you very much.